Oh, welcome to Memphis Answers, number 4. This Memphis Answers asked the question, why only the running gear on the assembly table? It comes from Pedician Hippie, and she writes, you mentioned dismantling the low bench to use the running gear on this cabinet. Did you mean just while you are working on the cabinet? Also, why did you feel you had to take it apart? Could you not have just put the cabinet on it as it was? Well, that was a good question. As a matter of fact, it was such a good question, I didn't even have the answer. I couldn't remember my thought processes, and so it's been a detective work trying to figure out why I did it. I'm 99.9% sure I know why. But let's explore that answer right now. If you missed Memphis Monday 213, which was this week's video, we retrofitted these 8 large drawers into this large workbench. And the question is on how we lifted it up where we could work on it. Kind of backtracking a little bit, this is the low workbench I always assemble things on. And what I did for this project is I took this piece of plywood off and just used the running gear. I'll tell you what, check out this unedited clip from Memphis Monday 213. I think everybody likes to work at a convenient level, but I think I take it to extremes though, don't I? Now the test will be is if we can move this thing around. Looks pretty good. So from that clip, you can see the reason I had to just use the running gear, because on the assembly table, there's not enough space between the running gear to get the cherry picker in there. So I just lifted up the cabinet and slid the running gear underneath the cabinet, giving myself enough room for these legs to slide in. So that's it for Memphis Answers number 4. I don't really remember going through that the thought process, but that's got to be the only reason I would have not simply placed the cabinet right on top of the workbench. It's strong enough. Another question that Pedician hippie had was, how come I had my hat turned around sideways? Well, if you're a ball cap wearer, you realize that these ball caps obstruct your vision looking up. And if you're working inside of a cabinet, you need to be able to flick your eyes up and see. And so, I mean, the only reason I wear this hat anyway is to hide my bald head. So a lot of times I just take it off. You'll see me walking around without the hat, and that's because it's gotten in the way of seeing. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope that answers your question, hippie, and get excited for the next Memphis Answers. As soon as you ask an interesting question, I'll come up with a sort of interesting answer. Thanks for playing along.